Hey guys, Hello Bella here. If you don't know me, I am an Amazon reseller and I sell on different platforms like Merch by Amazon, Amazon FBA, eBay, and Etsy. And I want to talk about in this video how Amazon is sort of like trading stocks. And this makes sense in my head, so just bear with me as I explain it. One thing that you need to realize about Amazon is that there are like almost an infinite number of products that you can sell on Amazon. So it's more a matter of getting your hands on things at the lowest price possible and then being able to move them at the highest price possible and getting your money back out of things as quickly as you want it back. So it's not always feasible that we get our money back out of something immediately, but there are some times when we need to look at long tail items and then sometimes when we can actually look at short tail items. For example, if I spend $1, I want to be able to make at least $1 back. Now, this is not going to be true if I spend $20 on a product and I can make $15 back. I don't want to become greedy. I don't want to say that I need to get 20 back out of my 20. I'm just okay with making $15 and moving on. So this is a lot like stock trading. We have so many products in the market. So picture this, a microbiology textbook. So there are dozens of these, dozens of editions and different kinds, but think of one that you know specifically that you've sold in the past. One strategy that you could have is actually to buy all the copies of that book at the lowest price possible and then hold it until textbook season and then send them all back in, and then you would basically be manipulating or dominating that market. So this is something that I've done in the past, not necessarily with textbooks, but anytime that I sell sort of a weird, obscure book and it sells for more than what I thought was possible, I will go ahead and buy several more copies of that book on eBay or something of whatever website that I can get it on, but usually eBay or actually from another merchant fulfilled seller. This is where having a price tracker really comes in handy, because if you have something like Keepa that will alert you whenever the price drops on something, you can just set it to send you a text message, and then when the price drops on something, you can just go buy the copies of it. One thing that's kind of always struck me as a little bit odd about Amazon is how we set our prices based on other people's prices, but then they're setting their prices based on our prices. So who really sets the price, I guess, is just determining the market. But whenever I am sending in a product like, say, FBA, I always think about the time it takes me to get the product, the time it's going to take it to arrive at the warehouse, and then possibly how many copies of that particular book or how many units of that particular item has already sold. Because if this is a really good rank, there's a chance that the first 5 to 10 of that item is already gone. So the price may be even higher than when you originally picked it up, but the price could also be lower, so it just depends. Another way that it's sort of like stocks is say you find kind of a weird book and it's ranked 4 million and there's only 3 people in stock and the prices are $999, $250, and then you have the book. So if I picked up that book for, say, $1, I may set the price at $49.99. And a lot of people would say that I was losing money by setting it that low. However, I think that sometimes when the rank gets to be super, super high, it is only because nobody is paying $250 or $9.99 for a particular copy of that book, but they may be watching it. And this strategy has actually paid off for me a lot by buying books ranked 4 and 5 million. So I'm really not scared of that rank at all. It just means that there wasn't enough books and the demand was low, but the price was too high at the time. So we have to just look at however the demand is. The demand is based on the price. The demand is not necessarily based on, oh, I need this item, I'll pay no matter what to get it. If a book is, particularly interesting, I will take that into account. But right now I have some books that I have priced around $120 and $95, and I'll basically hold it at that price for a couple of months, but I'll gradually decline the price as I see that it doesn't sell, or if I just want to get my money back out of something. And this is another point that I want to make, is that you need to have a good mix in your inventory of long tail items and short tail items. You need to have some things that are going to give your money back immediately so you can get your capital back out, but then you also need to have some items that are long tail items that are going to make you a lot of money. Because even if you pay to store something for 2 years, say I buy something for 50 cents and say that I wound up selling it for $80, it's totally worth it to pay long-term storage fees on something that I paid 50 cents for and then I sold for $80. And that's kind of in my head how it feels like, sort of like stock trading in a way, because you bought something when it was really, really low and you sold it when it was really, really high. So even though you made up the price and you dictated the market on that, I feel like it's still, you're making educated guesses. And that's all that stock trading or anything really is understanding the data in a market and then being able to read that and then seeing what you can do and how you can manipulate that to pull out your money as quickly as possible, or at least pull out the most amount of money as possible. One thing that I want to touch on is waiting for other people to sell out. I do this all the time. I will wait for people to sell out before I send in products, or I will just send in the product and set my price much higher than everyone else and just wait, because I know that eventually that particular product is going to sell out. Specifically on the tees that I flip a lot of tees from Tuesday Morning, TJ Maxx, and things like that. And the tees are ranked really well, and the price can go anywhere between $5 to $14.99 on them. So I just wait until everyone sells out, and then I make my money back at the $14.99 price. And sometimes it takes longer than others to get my money back out of things, but I just wait until everyone sells out. Like, there's really no need to panic and like lower your price. So one thing that you can always do is check and see how many your competitor has. Basically just add the item to your cart and then put $9.99 in the quantity that you want, and it'll tell you how many that your competitor has. That way you know, like, okay, well, I know that they're okay selling this product for $10 and they have freaking 50 of them, so do I really want to wait that long? And you just have to make that educated decision based on those numbers. But checking the quantity of something that someone else has is a really good way to kind of see how competitive the market is. You should also remember that during Q4, the prices of things are going to skyrocket. So things that are usually $20 become $40. Things that are usually easily available are sold out. Things that are somewhat weird and just kind of quirky, the prices are going to go way up. I actually just bought these really weird, creepy looking dolls at I think it was Marshall's or maybe Ross, and I paid $8 a unit for them, and I think they're selling right now for around $30, but I think I'm just going to send them in and price them around $45 and wait for everyone else to sell out. So yeah, I mean, just things like that. You can always be thinking about how quickly do I need this money back, and how quickly does someone else need their money back? You may be in a position where you don't need the money back as bad as someone else, especially when you have more capital to play with Amazon. That is when you can really level up and scale up in terms of having more products in stock, having higher sales, having a higher ROI on particular items. There are a lot of sellers who don't even have $1,000 to play with, so having more money is a huge benefit, I feel like, in building your Amazon business. Not saying that it's impossible with a little bit of money, but you can't really pursue retail arbitrage if you don't have money to tie up in capital, because that money is going to be spent a lot quicker if you're going to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Ross, Tuesday Morning, Home Depot, Lowe's. Places like that money is going to be spent a lot quicker than if you were sourcing Goodwills and thrift stores, because the prices are so much lower there. So where the profit is higher sourcing from the secondhand shops and things like that, the return on investment is much higher, but the barrier to entry is much lower. So with sourcing retail arbitrage, we've got a higher barrier to entry, we've got a higher price point, and we've got less people who can compete in this market, which no doubt anyone who sells in this market is going to go ahead and tell you there's a ton of people who are selling, but there are a lot less than what would be selling in a thrifted item or a used copy of a book that is ranked 10,000. So I just kind of think of Amazon and anything that I buy as like a weird version of stock trading or like educated gambling, because okay, so if there's 10 or 15 of a unit, I have to think about, okay, how much am I buying this for? How much is the potential return on investment? How quickly am I going to get the money back? How likely is it that someone else comes onto the listing and tanks the price before I get the item in stock, or something like that? And is it likely that I will lose my 100% of my investment? And if the answer to that is no, then I'm going to buy the item, because even if I just break even, that's fine. That's really unlikely, because you're going off of sales data and you're going off of rank. And if you're sourcing with one of the sourcing apps that's paid, you typically have some other indicators of value on there. So being able to look at this data and read the market is very, very important. And I honestly think that's what separates advanced resellers from basic resellers, is that basic resellers may have a huge knowledge in their head of the value of individual things, but they don't see the bigger picture of how can I get 20 units of something? How can I get 50 units of something? So I think that that is what separates a smaller seller from a bigger seller. And in my mind, I sort of had a mindset shift over time of how can I basically set myself apart? How can I change the way that I run my business to be more successful, to have higher sales, but also to make more money? Because honestly, like, your time is money. And that's another point that I want to make, is that we only have so much time in the day that we can source. So it makes more sense for me to source things that are going to make me more money, even if I have to spend more money to get it. For example, if I source all day and buy 50-cent books all day long, I have to in turn touch every single one of those items when I list it, when I put the label on it, when I put it in the box, and I've wound up touching 50 to 60 items where I could have only touched 3 items. So you can see how this sort of relates in the time value of money, and that is another perspective shift for me. When I started thinking about growth, I realized, like, I'm not going to be able to sustain this business and watch it grow if I keep doing it this way. I'm going to have to change the way that I do things and the way that I think about things. So I started to look at people who are more successful than me, and I wanted to see what they were doing. And as it turns out, what they were doing is they're spending more money than me. They were spending more money than me, but they were also making more money, and they were making their money back faster. So right now, I'm really focused on thinking about the business as a whole, seeing my inventory as this giant organism that has the potential to give me money every month, but also as a term, feeding the beast with Amazon, sending in products all the time. I'm thinking about how can I have a good mix of items that will make me my money back, but also will have a potential for high return. So I don't know. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like getting my thoughts out there, it's really like almost therapeutic, and at the same time I feel like you guys understand on a personal level, because if you're in reselling, like, literally it is like an emotional roller coaster. Like, if you find a lot of things that you make money on one day, you're in a good mood. If you go out sourcing and you don't find anything, you're like, oh, what a waste, like I could have been doing something else. So but honestly, the more that you do it, the better that you get at it. And I've realized, like, over the years, like, I am getting better at this, and I'm sort of in the point where I'm shifting the way that I think about the way I do things and how much money I'm investing in tools and becoming more efficient. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that, and how, Amazon is sort of like, it's just like stock trading or gambling or anything else of that nature, but we have the advantage or the upside of data that we're able to look at in order to make our buying decisions. So yeah, hopefully this wasn't too much rambling. I just wanted to check in with you guys. I am going sourcing today. I'm actually in Cape Girardeau, Missouri right now in a hotel room. It's a pretty nice hotel. $87, I think, on booking.com. And I am actually headed to Kansas City, Missouri, I think. Maybe Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm not sure. Wherever my mom is, I'm going to be there tonight. So, but yeah, I just wanted to check in with you guys and make this video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you have any weird psychological tricks that help you think about your Amazon business, leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear this perspective from you guys. Take care.